Superheaven, Next to Nothing, Guitar Tabs and Guitar Lesson. I'm going to play all the parts right at the beginning here. Afterwards, I'll go back through and give a full explanation for it. Please hit the subscribe button. It's the best way to let me know you like this video and want to see more stuff by Superheaven. And now let's give it a try. Okay, for starters, we'll be arranging this in a drop D tuning. They're in kind of a E flat vibe, so instead of having to just change all the strings down a half step, we'll just do this little trick where we just take the low E down to a D, keep everything else the same, and just apply it from there. Alright, so this initial main riff, like I said, will be in this E flat area, so we're just going to do a big slide out to 1st fret, alright, on the D, A, D here. And then just kind of hit it, and then we can get a little bit more of like the mid part of it here, adding the 3 on the G with those 1s on the DAD, and just kind of go between that and just like the DAD power chord version. So okay, just kind of lightly like mixing in like the higher to the low part of the chord, and then we do this little hammer on pull off on the open of that middle D. Alright, and we zoom up here, we hit an 8 on the low D as a little transitional note there, and that'll lead us into our A flat sus2 vibe here, so just hitting 6s on the low D and the A, adding the 8 on the middle D and the 8 on the G, and once we hit that, we just kind of hit it, maybe hesitate a little bit, do a little shuffle strums through it, a couple more strums. So we went. Alright, and the first time through, we finish it by doing a little 5 on the low D with a little bit of vibrato there, just as another transitional note back into the initial E flat. Alright, and we go through the whole thing again, and at the end of the second time through, instead of doing that little 5 on the low D, instead we just come on up and we do 8s on the low D and the A. Alright, so it just kind of alternates each time we go through the ending there between the 5 to the 8s, and we just go through each one a couple times there. Verse section, we get into more of a just chilled out kind of clean tone here, and we're staying on that E flat, so we just hit the 1 on the DAD there. Alright, and we're just real loose, kind of chilling out here, and with that we'll hit, let that ring for a moment, and then do an open G to 3, do a 3B back to the open G. And we finish that by coming up to the 6s on the DAD. We hit it and we hammer that 6 middle D onto the 8. Do do a couple little strums there, and then finish by making that middle D a 10, keeping those 6s on the D and A. All right, and we start it over. All right, and now the second time through, we switch it up a little bit at the end. We come on up to our 6s with the 8 there, and we just kind of stay on that. All right, and you know, that first guitar does that a few times. The second guitar comes in with this little melody on top, where we do 3 on the B, hold it for a moment, pull off a 3 to 1 on the high E, and then just back to that 3 on the B. And that just carries over the top of that first guitar's progression there. And at the end of the verse, we start like we're going to do our basic pattern there. You know, we hit our E flat with the 1s, we do our little open G to 3, and at this point, everything gets heavier, and we just kind of come in with this almost, you know, dissonant type of chord, and it'll be based around like this C sharp thing going on here. Basically, we do the 4 on the A, we do a 3D and a 3G, and that's probably about as much as we really need. And we just hit that, get it overdriven, and just kind of strum it out. Kind of a transition into the chorus section. For the chorus, we keep it big here, and we just drop down to our E flat power chord. Kind of do like in the intro where we hit the chord, and then we kind of get through maybe a little bit more of the mid part of the chord, throwing in that 3 on the G, and just kind of bounce between those two sections of the chord. Just something like that, just shuffling through it. And now we zoom up to this B vibe here, kind of a major B major thing going on here. We zoom up to 9s on the D and the A, and then we add the 8s on the D and the G. All right, and we hit that and just kind of shuffle through that a bit. All right, and we go through the whole thing again. All right, and at the end of the second time, you know, as we're shuffling towards the end of our B major chord here with the 9s, we'll drop down and just do a couple of power chords on the A flat here at the 6s on the DAD. It's just kind of a bang bang right there. And after that, the chorus ending, you know, we go through the whole thing as usual, but we just stay on those 6s and just hang out there for a couple more strums, and then zoom on up, hit the 13 on that D, and just give it a little vibrato, slide it out. For the bridge section, we start on our B major chord from the chorus, the 9s with the 8s. And it's just type of same deal. We just hit kind of the low part of the chord, mix in the mid parts of the chord, and just shuffle between them. And from there, we just kind of switch the bass notes. We keep that same 8 on the middle D and G, but we make those 9s 6s. So essentially, we're just switching to this A flat sus2 now. And it's the same type of strum through that. And we just go between those two chords just like that.